Hello ladies and gentlemen, all creatures great and small, dog walkers, van drivers, hardcore fans, occasional listeners, bikers, wannabe bikers, racers, casual riders, spectators, marshals in their orange suits, and for all yous just listening at home. This is the Big Bad Bike Show. I'm your host, the Big Bad Biker, Sam McCauley, and joining me tonight is the Up North Biker, Ash Haw.
Hey up!
But no Chippy this week. Apparently he had more important things to do.
Yeah.
He is going to try and make a cameo appearance, so we're going to try and edit him in because he's scared we're trying to push him out of the show. By the way, when I said more important, just in case you couldn't hear my voice, I was doing inverted commas.
Yeah,
more important things to do. We'll come to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. As we're recording, it is Monday the 24th of July. It is 8:45. It's never 8:30 when we record.
No.
If you're listening on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Last week, we reached 100 subscribers.
We did. I was very excited about that.
I was very excited too. I put it all over Facebook. I was like, yay. Now, I follow a guy on Facebook and YouTube and stuff. He's a gamer YouTuber, and he recently got a plaque for 1 million subscribers. And I was like, there's me really happy with my 100. I was like, yeah, but you know what? It's a start. It's good. But we were at 96, 97. We were creeping up, and I was like, just get to 100.
I think we're at about 103 now.
Oh yes, get in. Sexy that. Anyway, please keep supporting us. It does help us a lot if you hit the like button and push this out and let more people listen. Tell your friends, tell everybody, tell your cat.
Yeah,
whatever.
Definitely cats.
If you're listening to Spotify, Apple, or Google, you can still get in touch. You can podcast, or you can send us a message at podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. Anything at all. We don't care what you're talking about. Don't care if you want to slag us off.
Yeah.
If you want to big us up. Just send us a message. We'll read it out in the show as long as it's not, you know what I mean. As long
politically incorrect. As long as it's in there,
Yeah. Right. So, Ash, do you want to tell us what's coming up in the show?
Yeah, absolutely. As usual, we have the all new Who Am I, and this week it is Sam's turn. We're going to be looking back at the BSB at Brands Hatch and making our predictions for the World Superbikes in the Czech Republic. So, that should be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I think this week's Who Am I is Chippy's turn.
Oh, is it?
Yes. So he has pre-recorded his Who Am I, and that will be edited in. But I will read it out
of course it is, yeah.
I will read it out for you and I and the listeners with a little bit of editing magic. We'll hear Chippy's voice.
Yeah.
Do 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 do. Right. But before we go into that, we'll find out what we've been up to, and we'll get into the weeds of why Chippy's not here. Because I know he'll be listening. He'll be listening.
Yeah, he will,
to
of course
this show.
he'll be listening.
He'll be out walking his dog. He'll be walking his dog, listening to this show, and he'll want to know what we're saying about him. And I know rightly he's going to have a little notepad and pen writing down everything we say wrong, and next week he's going to come in with Chippy's correction or whatever.
Of course he is, yeah. Of course he is. Oh, I didn't do it like that. I didn't say that.
So he's trying to suggest that, he's trying to suggest me, saying that I'm being impatient, and that's why we're doing the show without him, because we can't wait for him to be available.
That's because he won't be available till Wednesday.
No, Thursday. He won't be available till Thursday.
We'll be on the next bloody episode.
I know, for the listeners, Chippy is working Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, right? So normally we watch the racing, and we usually say, when are we going to record? We like to record on a Monday night or possibly a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
If all else fails, maybe a Wednesday night.
But that's a massive push. Massive push for Wednesday.
It is. And not only that, we've now, and we do, believe it or not, we do actually have fans to think about.
Yeah.
And they want the show.
They want the content. We can't be waiting for specky nerds like Chippy.
They want the content when they're used to hearing the content. So maybe we can even bring it back to a Sunday. It's a bit of a push for us to do it on a Sunday, but we can record on a Sunday. We can't even do that because he's working Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night and Wednesday night. And you know what annoys me even more? We go back in our little group chat to about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he was bragging, going, "Yeah, I'm working nights all next month, hooray!" Because he's so antisocial. He likes working nights because he doesn't have to do anything, and he can sleep at work. Oh, I can get to sleep. But at no point during I'm working nights for a month did he sit down and think, "Oh, actually, you know what? I'm the co-host in the podcast. Maybe I need to make myself available." What a stupid little nerdy twat. That's why you're not on the show, you little dumbass. So stop going on about me not being impatient. I've got a lot of patience for you, or you'd already be off the show. Anyway, there we go.
We're not reading his catch-up because it's just him bitching.
That's just him bitching.
Yeah, we're not reading that.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't be off the show because I don't know if the show would exist as well without him, so I'll give him his dues. But yeah, shut up, Chippy.
Yeah.
It's going to. I think there might be a lot of that through this show. He's not here to defend himself. Right?
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of abuse this show.
What are you up to?
What I've been up to? So I've just ordered some bar risers for my Blackbird actually, which will make it a lot more comfortable on longer rides. I will most likely do a video on how I'm going to fit them as well, so look out for that on YouTube. They're just little risers that you can fit. They're pretty cheap. They're going to cost me about 30 quid, 35 quid. Just literally gives you another 28mm. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it should make it a bit more comfortable. A lot of people on the Blackbird forums
make
are saying,
bit of a difference, yeah.
Yeah, they're saying that they're pretty good. So, and I really don't want to fork out 160 quid on a straight bar, so yeah, I'm going to fit them. The event I went to this past weekend, that was a success. A lot of people giving the Blackbird a lot of love, and a lot of people were surprised at how old the bike was. A lot of people were saying, "How old's that bike?" I was like, "Well, it's 23 years old," and they were like, "Bloody hell, I can't believe that," because it is a very well looked after bike. It's not got a scratch on it. So,
were these actual bikers or just people that aren't really involved in the biking world that were just showing some curiosity?
A mixture, really. There was some obviously older bikers that were coming up. A lot of old men. I used to have one of them back in the day. I bought one brand new. Coming in with the Zimmer frames. I'm like, yeah, cheers, dude. It's not an old man's bike, I swear. But no, there was some bikers and some non-bikers, and people, were coming over, and I was saying, yeah, go and have a sit on it, have your photo, and started it up, rev the engine for them and stuff, so they were loving it. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, it was good.
Showing the love.
Showing the love. What about you, Sam? What have you been up to?
Well, I wasn't as, what's the word I'm looking for? I wasn't as sociable as this weekend. This week you were. So, my better half, she was going to some of the athletics down in London, I believe it was, this weekend. And I'm always going away for weekends. Like, I do it all the time, so I thought it was my turn to let her do it. So I stayed at home and played daddy with the kids.
That's good.
I think she was expecting to come home and see the house on fire. But I think I managed it all right. Obviously, my idea of parenting is I'm just going to take them to the toy shop and spoil them and shut them up for a couple of days. But even that was frustrating because I've got two little girls. I took them to the toy shop, and all I did was walk up and down the aisles looking at all the toys I wanted whenever I was growing up. But because I've got little girls, they don't want any of them. And I'm like, "Oh, here, look at this really cool Action Man. Do you want to buy it?" And they're like, "No, it sucks, Daddy."
Nerf guns. That's what you want.
Well, they don't want Nerf guns. The best thing I could get them to buy was a flat ball. You know the flat balls? It's like flat ball, throw a disc.
Oh, yeah, you squeeze it down into a frisbee, you lob it, and then it turns into a ball. Yeah.
Yeah, I always wanted one of them growing up. So I bought one, and I took it home, and we played for it for like 2 minutes, and I was like, "God, this is really shaggy." This was such a crap toy. I'm like, maybe there was a reason my old man never bought me a crappy flat ball. I took him to the cinema as well, but I judged that badly because the Barbie movie was out and there was some randoms joining the queue to go to Barbie. There was one little lass I seen, and she was basically in a thong and pants, or a thong and bra, and she had a onesie on, but it was a see-through onesie, so she was just standing in the cinema in her thong and her bra.
Yeah.
With this little tiny pink denim coat on. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, but it's 11 o'clock in the morning and I'm here with my kids to go and see Elemental. It's like there's a time and place, and you picked the both of them, or the wrong one completely. Apart from that, because my wife was away and I could sit up late by myself and drink and I feel sorry for myself, I downloaded TT Closer to the Edge, the computer game.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. It sounds a lot better than what the old one was.
Well, I played the first one, and the first one kind of went round Wales and parts of Ireland and Northern Ireland and Scotland, but it's not tracks I recognised, but you kind of had to cut your teeth as a road racer and then go to Isle of Man, and it wasn't great. The graphics were okay, it handled a bit funny. But this one here, I'd never played the second one, so I downloaded this one. I was a bit surprised. You can essentially just ride around the island. You can't go on any road. There are roads you can go on, and roads you can't, but you can go off the beaten track, inverted commas, as you can go on roads that aren't necessarily on the TT track. And it's a bit like Forza. For anybody that's listening, if you're not into games, I apologise, but it's a little bit like Forza Horizon 5, where you've got like landmarks to go and see, and you've got like little challenges to do. Or if you can't be bothered with all that, you can just skip all that and go straight and just ride around the track.
Yeah.
But it's a decent game. It's, if you're just sitting and don't know what to do with yourself and you got half an hour in your hands, just ride around the Isle of Man TT course.
It'd be cool if you can buy like extra characters, like say like Joey Dunlop or whatever.
Yeah, well, I was thinking that would be a good idea. You play like FIFA games and stuff. I don't really play FIFA games, but you know the way you can play FIFA games and you can get like historical characters and you can get Maradona in your super team and stuff like that. It would be cool if you could do that way. Like you could maybe get Mike Halewood or Joey Dunlop or
it'd be pretty cool
or something like that. Yeah, but it's a good game. It's decent. It's about the only motorbikey thing I've done this weekend. I went out. I told my wife. I said, if you're going away, I'm going to go out on my bike quickly for an hour or two before you leave. So, but nobody wants to hear about me riding around in my little log for an hour. Anyway, so well, we move on.
Yeah.
Right. So last week we talked about there was a listener got in contact. Who's got in contact previously before Stu Monroe, and we were having a little chat about him passing his CBT.
Yeah.
And we showed a picture of his bike. So he's just sent us a little message about it. He's just said that the bike he got was around, it's in the chat, I don't want to say how much it was, but he's saying how much it was. He says it was a little pricey for something he's only intended to have for a year. But brand new, it was a similar price to what people are asking for second hand. So he thought it might as well be better to get it brand new, because that way he knows that no young lads or young gals have tried to mess around with it or put any aftermarket mods or anything on.
No, so that's fair enough.
I've noticed that with 125s, they do kind of hold their price, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, absolutely.
There's always a need for them. There's always people learning to ride a bike. Apart from that, he says, also answer to your curiosity, he's around his mid-30s, so he's a similar age to us.
Right, that's cool.
And then he finished it by saying, keep up the good content, keeps me sane in the work van. That made my day whenever I
that's really cool.
So there is somebody, we've got a listener who, this is what I meant at the start of the show when I said we need to get the show out on time, because we've got a listener who sits in his work van, driving around doing whatever it is he's doing, and he puts us on.
Yeah.
You just imagine that. There's some dude driving around doing his daily work.
Listening to us talk bollocks.
We can't let our listeners down.
That's it. And do you know what? He probably obviously because he keeps updated, he probably listens to other podcasts as well. He'll probably listen to ours and then, I don't know, maybe move on to somebody else's. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool that somebody does avidly listen to us, and waits for the next stuff coming out. That's cool.
Yeah, it does. It made my day. But little 125s, they do kind of hold their price, don't they?
They really do. And even the, like I say, because I know he got the Lex Moto, which is a Chinese brand, they seem to hold the price as well. So I reckon when he comes to sell it, he'll probably easily be able to get roughly what he paid for it, I imagine.
Excuse me. I bought mine for $12.50, and it's coming up in a year ago I bought mine. And whenever I went to get it MOT'd, the guy was saying to me, he's like, it's a great little bike, that lovely little bike, it'd be great for a learner and stuff, is what I had it for.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's a nice little bike, and he was asking me how much I paid for it, and I told him, and he was like, oh, you'll easily get that bike.
Easily, yeah. How many
because
miles? Because
there is that market for it. Oh, I couldn't even tell you. Not off the top of my head. I don't know. But yeah, there's just always that market for 125s, isn't there?
Oh yeah,
there's
absolutely.
always going to be people learning, and as long as you look after them to a certain degree.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I say, I know he's obviously got the Lex Moto, and I have slagged off Chinese bikes in the past, but because they're more popular,
nearly every episode.
but because they're more popular now in the UK, they're so much easier to get spares for. So they kind of are getting better, I think. I wouldn't have one myself, but if definitely for a learner bike, no problems.
Yeah, I would think I think I always just steer towards Japanese bikes, but that's because I just grew up admiring Hondas. That's why, like my favourite rider's ridden Hondas, you know what I mean? So like, that's kind of where it stems from.
For me, it was always my dad's advice, always go Japanese, and yet he now rides a German bike.
What's he got, a KTM?
No, he's got the BMW GS 1200.
KTM's Austrian, sorry.
It is.
Sorry,
yes,
Austrians
it is.
BMW. I don't know why I said KTM. Anyway, we've got a little bit other. We had a little bit other feedback, but it's all to do with the Who Am I, which we will move on to next. So,
okay.
Last week was your Who Am I. Do you want to read out the clues?
I will read out the clues again. So I was born in Bradford in 1989. Have 3 Isle of Man TT wins and 26 podiums, and currently race in the BSB. Anybody have a guess, did they?
Big Dazza emailed in with the answer. He emailed in saying it was Dean Harrison. He's the only one that's got in touch with the answer. To be honest, I kind of dropped the ball because I usually put an email out and I put out social media saying we're recording tomorrow, and it kind of triggers people to send in. But I forgot to do that this week because just other things on my mind. But yeah, Big Dazza got in contact, said it was Dean Harrison. I had a harder time than what you were expecting.
Yeah, I thought you'd get it pretty easily. I knew Chippy would, because obviously he's BSB nut, but I thought you would have got this quite easily, but even then, eventually you got it.
It wasn't super difficult, it was just for me it all came down to the TT knowledge, and I was just like, I wasn't sure if Dean Harrison had 3 TT wins, I wasn't sure if he had 26 podiums, but I was going through my head, I was like, there's Peter Hickman, there's Davy Todd, who's too young. Peter Hickman's too many race wins. I was thinking, Halloran's Australian. I was like, Glenn Irwin's only been there once, and he's Irish. I was going through it, and I was like, the only one I can think of is Dean Harrison. But I honestly thought Dean Harrison had more than 3 wins, because like the guy's got 26 podiums and he's a TT winner. Yeah. So I was like, is it Dean Harrison? I was going through it. I was like, who else could it be? That's why in the end I just sent you a message. I was like, the only guy I can think of is Dean Harrison. That's how it is. But I honestly wasn't wasn't confident about it at all.
Dean Harrison was the correct answer, so well done, Big Dazza. Well done, everybody.
Yeah, well done, Big Dazza. That's where us on the group chat have the advantage over anybody that's listening, unless they use Google, which is fine. I might have to use Google this week, because anyway. Right, I'll read this out, but I'll let it in, Chippy, alright?
Yeah.
Okay, so cool. Chippy this week has sent us a little message for his Who Am I, because he doesn't want to be left out of the show. Even though he can't be bothered to turn up.
Yeah, as usual.
Right.
So for this week, my first clue is I was born in 1982 in Japan. The second clue is I have raced in MotoGP, World Superbikes and British Superbikes, winning 3 championships. Apologies if you just heard my dog shake in the background there. And my third and final clue is I won the Suzuka 8-hour race in 2008.
Japanese rider in the BSB.
Yeah, now, I had 2 names running through my head.
I've only got one currently.
And I sent Chippy a message. I said, this is who I think it is. He said, that's not him. I said, the only other person I can think of is this one. He says, it's not him. Now, there is another rider running through my head, but I can see his face, but I can't think of his name. And this isn't, I'm not trying to be offensive here, but Japanese names, for me, as you can imagine being an Irishman, they aren't the easiest to get my tongue around.
No, they're very complicated.
So they don't stay in my head very well. So, but I've got I've got an idea who it is, but I can't think of his name, and it's annoying me that much that I'm going to have to Google it. Unfortunately, sorry, Chippy, I'm going to have to Google your answer because I don't know who it is. Or I might just wait for a couple of days and see if karma just throws it in front of me somehow. I might just be watching some old YouTube video and they might mention it. But then again, if I watch a YouTube video and it brings it up, that's kind of Googling it.
Yeah, I suppose it is in a way, but I think I'm going to have to Google that one. Unless it is who I think it is, which I don't. It probably isn't.
I was just scrolling through Facebook when the Suzuki ER 2008 results came up in front of me. I didn't Google it.
Oh dear.
Well, if you're better than myself and better than Ash, and you know who it is, maybe like a light bulb that's just hit you straight in the face, and you're like, I know exactly who that is. Please get in touch. It's podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. If you need to Google it, you can just pretend you didn't. Just do that. Send us a message. We'll read your name out in the show. If you're a little shy, just make a name up. Just the more bizarre, the better. Just don't make it that filthy or offensive that we can't read it out. Anyway, fair enough.
I know your name.
We've also got threads and Twitter. You can get in contact with us as well. It's basically just the Big Bad Bike Show. Nice and simple.
Yeah.
Right. Moving on from this, we're going to be bringing on to the news again. Chippy is scared that we're trying to push him off the show.
I reckon if we do a good enough job of it, we should just ditch his recordings completely and just let him cry about it.
Why is he so scared? Why can he not just miss a night?
I don't know.
What's wrong with him?
I'm still yet to miss a night. I'm the only 100% OG.
The OG. You are the Big Bad Bike Show. Right. So here we go.
So the first bit of news this week is exciting developments await the 2024 British Superbike season as officials confirm changes in each class, ranging from minor technical adjustments to major overhauls. The most significant shifts involve the removal of the Junior Superstock and Junior Supersport categories, making room for the National Sport Bike Championship and the introduction of the one-make Kawasaki British Super Team class, featuring the formidable Kawasaki Ninja ZX4RR bikes. You can find all the information on all these changes on the official British Superbikes website, and I believe we've posted a link to that in our Facebook group as well.
Now, I had a look at these ZX4RR bikes that they've brought out, and they're basically just the next one up from what I had. Do you remember my 400 Ninja?
Well, I was thinking that's exactly what I thought. It's not just.
It's basically just a 400 Ninja, and they've just called it the ZX4RR.
So it's a bit like a Super Twin. It's like a Twin Cup, Super Twin Cup, but rather than
so it's like, you know how in the World Supers they had the 400 Ninja class? They're doing that, but just putting it into BSB, basically. That's what they're doing on the new bikes. I think it'll be quite good.
Yeah. I know other championships they have, like you were saying, they have a Super Twin, which is just, they're all similar sized bikes, like you get KTM's, Kawasaki's, whatever, but they're basically just doing, what are they calling it? The Super Teen class. The Kawasaki British Super Teen class. Is that to suggest that everybody in it's going to be a teenager?
I imagine so, yeah. I imagine it will be, which is a shame, because I tell you who would be great in that, and that's Anna Carrasco. She could have gone and completely dominated it.
Yeah, but what age is Anna Carrasco? She's getting on a bit.
Yeah, I think she's. Well, I don't think she's like ancient, but obviously she's not a teen. Let's put it that way.
However, this is just following a trend which is happening more and more now. I don't know how often this has happened throughout history in motorbike racing or car racing, but it's a trend that seems to be happening more and more, where like a single manufacturer just takes over a championship. I know it levels the playing field and such, and it's like everybody's on the same, and it's probably cheaper to run and cheaper to manufacture and cheaper to transport and all. But it seems to be happening more and more now, where it's just like, rather than start a championship and have people just jump in with whatever bike here, there, and whatever, it's just, let's just one manufacturer, everybody on the same bikes. Like, it does seem to happen more and more.
Yeah, but I mean, Kawasaki can afford to do it because obviously they're not involved in the MotoGP. So
yeah,
they've got to get their angle on their bikes some other way, and that's why they're doing this in the BSB, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how far that's going to go. How
Yeah.
if you go 10, 15 years down the line from now, how this trend of one manufactured championships, where's that going to end up? Because even in Moto 2, they're Triumph. I know they're all Triumph engines. Or they Triumph like 765 engines.
765, yeah, the same that's in the Daytona.
Is that the Street Triple as well?
I believe it's now in the Street Triple as well, the newer one, yeah. But I think the closest thing to a Moto 2 bike, because I think you can buy a 765 like Moto 2 style bike from them.
Is that not what Peter Hickman and his own racing bike? Does he not have a Triumph 765 and his own racing team?
I believe he does have Triumph bikes, yeah. So it probably is. If the 765 would probably be the Super Sport in the Super Sport class.
I'm not entirely sure what it probably is, but I was just remembering riding one, and I think it was a 765 because I think in the back of my head I was just I was pleased and proud of myself because I was like, oh, I know that's a Moto 2.
Yeah.
Probably wrong completely.
No, it's
it
does seem to be, like you say, it does seem to be a sort of trend. But I looked at
because you got Red Bull.
No, go on.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go on.
I was going to say you got the Red Bull rookies, which is all like just the one bike.
Yeah, they're all Hondas, aren't they? The Red Bull rookies.
Yeah, and then you get Moto 2, and Red Bull rookies is like a stepping stone to Moto 3, and you get Moto 2, which is all the one bike. I'm just wondering how long it'll be before. I wonder if Moto 3 will ever adopt that as well, where it's just all the one bike. MotoGP is practically just everybody's riding the Ducati.
Yeah, everyone just gets nudged out. It's just all Ducatis. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
The ZX4RR though, that was I had a look at the specs on that, and they're basically exactly the same as what was on my old 400 Ninja. So
that was a nice little bike too.
It was a class little bike. That it was cool.
It was a nice bike. I looked from I say novice. Like I've read plenty of 125s, but I've never really gone above it because the opportunities never really arose. But from a novice point of view, it looked manageable. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, it was a really good little bike, and it was perfect for where we lived at the time.
Yeah.
What I loved about it was it looked like kind of like a ZX10 from the front, but from the back it looked like a Moto 3 bike. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. There's definitely, for people that's listening, because Chippy's not here, there's probably going to be a lot more manufacturing bike talk.
Yes, there is, which I enjoy more. I do enjoy talking about the actual road bikes, because Chippy sits there, rolls his eyes, starts playing on his Simpsons tapped out, going,
what's the deal playing the Simpsons while we're doing a podcast?
Bored. This is boring. Ugh.
Oh, this podcast is all about me, and I'm bored.
Yeah, so if you're not doing what I don't want, if you're not doing what I don't want to do, then I'm just going to do what I want to do.
How selfish of me. Let's do all the things.
Let's do all the things that you want to do.
I watched that movie the other day, and I was so happy that my little girls loved it. They laughed their ass off at the rhino scene so much.
It's so funny.
I was like, it's so good that you like this movie, because anytime you're bored now, you could just stick on Ace Ventura and get peace for an hour. Like, go watch Ace Ventura. Brilliant.
It's when the woman's like, oh my god, the little rhino's giving birth, and he's going,
the whole man comes crawling up. Anyway.
Yeah.
We're digressing on to Ace Ventura. We've talked a lot of nonsense. Let's move on to the next news segment.
The Argentinian round of the 2023 World Superbike Championship, originally planned to be held on October the 13th to the 15th, has been cancelled. The decision arose due to political reasons in Argentina, and an alternative location is for the final round is yet to be confirmed. So I don't know where you two are thinking. Personally, I'm hoping it stays over that side of the world and maybe head to Laguna Seca, as it hasn't been there for a few years. What do you two think?
Yeah, so I've read on it a little bit, and it's something to do with they're holding elections or something like that, or maybe it's political rallies leading up to elections, and they're worried that
they're going to come along and start causing a load of trouble, basically. Sort of.
Well, I think they're just worried that it might get in the way and might disrupt, and then one party might be able to say, well, the reason we didn't get what we wanted was because we were disrupted by such and such. It might just be an excuse, because remember, whenever MotoGP went there, they were suggesting that the track was a little bit unsafe.
Yeah.
there were some suggestions about that because the track's not used that much.
It's not. No,
I don't know if it's the same. I don't know if it's the same track, but I'd imagine it is the same track.
Yeah.
How many world championship standard motorcycle races does Argentina have? So it's probably the same track. And if there was any suggestions that there was some problems with it, then they might be using this as a bit of an excuse to get out of that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Chippy has gone on to say he's hoping it stays over that side of the world and maybe head to Laguna Seca, and I agree with him on that. That would be pretty cool, because we've all said in previous pods that we'd love for the bikes to go back to Laguna Seca because it's a great track.
Well, I was looking just before recording. I had a look on there to see whereabouts it is in America already. So it starts off in well, I'm pretty sure it starts off in Australia, or it goes to Australia sometime, and then it went over to Europe, and then I noticed that the only time it goes to the Americas, of any north or south at all, the only time it goes to the Americas is Argentina. So it's not even in the USA.
No.
There's no rounds. So in that sense, it kind of, with that, it kind of makes sense that it should go to the United States. That seems like the obvious choice.
Well, I hope they do.
But I think of it. But the Moto America has recently been to Laguna Seca, and Laguna Seca has recently been resurfaced and all. And like I say, the Moto America went round there, and them guys are now taking it easy. You know, they're flying around there. So the facilities are obviously there. The track's obviously in a good enough condition. They can have a race in Laguna Seca. The only thing I'm not sure about is Laguna Seca is in the desert. I'm not entirely sure what the weather's like there. I don't know if it gets a rainy season or not. Somebody that's good at geography and or if an American who lives around near California could maybe send us an email and call me a dick for not knowing. But
yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's dry there all year round. I don't know if that should be a problem. But it might get, my point is, it might get storms. It might even be really dusty and all, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but still, I still think it'd be a great track to definitely go to.
You would love to see them going around the corkscrew again.
Absolutely. It was so good. Let's do it.
We were talking about this the other week.
We were talking petition.
Yeah, let's do it. You sit tight, like, let me and you just get up and we'll just go to Laguna Seca, man, and race around it. But we were talking about it the other week, and they were saying that Chippy was saying that, and I kind of agreed with him just to move on and get the point done, but he was saying that the only good part about Laguna Seca is the corkscrew. And I was watching them race round there, and it was so not true. There's so much to that track that's really good. That's a really, really good track.
It is, yeah.
Like, just saying that the only good thing about it is the corkscrew is just a massive injustice to such a fantastic track. It's really good.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know the names of the corners. I couldn't tell you, but I just know it's a decent track, and there's more to it than just the corkscrew.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even though the reason everybody watches it is because of the corkscrew.
Yeah, but Chippy, get back in your box. You're not on the podcast, so you can put what you're down.
Yeah.
What you like down here. Laguna Seca, brilliant. Screw you, specky nerd. Oh dear. Right, so
his mum listens to this podcast.
Hey?
Mrs. Chippy, we apologise. His mum listens to this podcast. We do. Yeah. We apologise, Mrs. Chippy.
Much love to Mrs. Chippy.
Right, next piece of news.
After a remarkable partnership spanning 8 years, Dean Harrison, the renowned BSB and roads rider, is parting ways with DAO Racing ahead of the 2024 season. Team manager Johnny Bagnall quoted, "Dean's contract was due to end at the end of 2023 as part of his 2-year contract. During negotiations, we haven't been able to agree on a suitable deal. Therefore, we came to this mutual decision on both parties."
I wonder where he's going to go then.
I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure Dean Harrison won't have any trouble getting himself
No,
paid.
of course not. Maybe we'll start hearing some stuff about silly season with that then, because I haven't seen anything about where he's going to go or anything. So I imagine he'll probably stay in
going to be
BSB.
I don't know where else he's going to go. I think his opportunity to go to World Superbikes is long gone. No offence to Dean Harrison, but
or maybe he could just concentrate on road racing.
But that's the thing. Road racing's there's no guarantees you can concentrate on road racing because it's with the state. I know there's the Northwest
Yeah,
happened.
obviously everything
the
that
Ulster
happened
Grand-
this year with the insurance
I
and
don't even
that.
know if the Ulster Grand Prix happened, but the Isle of Man TT, that's the one I was looking for. That was there. Armoy's on next weekend. There's one or two road races. Tandragee just missed out on that. I think they just missed out on Tandragee, Kirkeston and stuff. Like, there are a few road races around, but I don't think it's enough that you can, for someone like Dean Harrison. I don't know if it's enough. I think he's really going to need that BSB in there.
Yeah, I think he probably will.
But if there's another, if he's struggling to get a ride, for whatever reason, if he's struggling to get a ride, he could fork up the money and he could take part in the BMW F900 Cup, and he would absolutely smoke it.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Richard Cooper's in there, and Richard Cooper's fast, but you know what I mean. It's an opportunity for Dean Harrison just to keep himself in. But I'd imagine if he didn't have something lined up, I can imagine he would have got some sort of deal with DAO Racing and stayed in there. So he must have something going on.
Yeah, he wouldn't just sort of like bin it off. If he had nothing else to go to, he probably would have negotiated to stay at DAO. So I vote he goes to Hawk Racing. Let's do that. Be pretty cool. And don't forget, Chippy hates Richard Cooper, so we could get him out. We could get Dean Harrison in.
And a quick final note, Alex Rins won't be at the British Grand Prix as he continues to recover from his injury. Ika Lecuona looks set to take his place on the LCR Honda.
Pretty standard. Ika Lecuona's been sort of their rider for everything as an extra, hasn't he? Just as a wild card.
He has been, yeah. I'm still not sure about Ika Lecuona on the Honda, though.
But then who else are they going to pick to ride it?
It's Stefan Bradl, their test rider. Is that?
Yeah, believe so.
Why not him? Why does he not just step into it and do it?
Maybe he don't want to.
If he's maybe not, but if he's a test rider and he's riding that bike week in, week out, testing on it, and I'm not trying to be offensive to Ika Lecuona. Obviously, he's amazing on a bike. He wouldn't be in World Superbikes in the first place. But you would think Stefan Bradl would be faster than him.
Maybe he's just thinking, if I go out and ride it, I know I'm going to fall off it, so I don't really want to do that in front of everyone.
That could be it. Maybe he's just like, no, get the fuck, I'm not riding that thing. You just say come out and come last.
Oh dear.
Right, so there is one final piece of news that came out just in the 11th hour. It's not anything that we didn't really expect, to be honest, or some of us expected it. Tito Rabat is staying at McCann's Yamaha for the next few rounds.
Yeah.
It's unspecified how many rounds, but up until Snetterton's qualifying, he looked decent since then. This is Chippy saying this.
Yeah.
He said up until Snetterton he looked decent, but since then he's not fulfilled his promise. He thinks McCann's are just trialling him for the next couple of rounds and will give someone else a permanent ride next season.
Well, he kind of shocked us all, didn't he, at Snetterton? Came into it and was just like, he was up there, and I was thinking, bloody hell, we were all wrong. But then since then, he's just gone...
Yeah, I think it was
maybe just a bit of stroke of luck, wasn't it, really?
I don't know. You don't become a 2 times Moto2 world champion
I suppose,
by being lucky. The guy's obviously a good rider.
Yeah.
He just maybe likes time to settle into stuff, and
it's just the fact that the first time he was settling in, he was like he was battling for like second place.
Yeah, well, he wasn't a qualifier, and he like the first couple of laps at Snetterton he did well, and then he moved back and finished around 9th, 10th, 11th place, which was still a good result considering what people were saying.
Yeah, maybe he'll bounce back and he'll maybe do better the next round.
Yeah, this week it was more what people were expecting from him when he turned up. So a lot of keyboard warriors will be back out again. Oh, I told you so, like Chippy. I told you so. Oh, look at me, I knew. But I think the guy just had a bad weekend. It's another track he's never been to before.
Yeah.
He maybe had a bit more pressure on him this week because he's going out thinking, oh, actually, I done something last week or last round, so I kind of had to live up to that. And maybe that put a bit of pressure on him. Who knows? I'm not out there riding a bike. I'm not the one going fast. So
Yeah,
I still think if you give Tito Rabat enough time, he'll be a decent rider. Like I say, he's just 2 times Moto2 champion. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Here's Chippy sending the message. How's recording going? A lot better if you'd stop sending me messages, that's for sure. Hold on, listeners. Hold on, listeners. Please take. I just got to send a message here and say how it's going. Shut up.
I'm just going to tell him to shut up, we're recording.
Shut up, Chippy, we're recording. Do you know what the best of it is, too? I bet he's sitting at work doing absolutely nothing. I bet he's not doing anything at work. Probably got his tent out. Chippy takes a tent to work.
Have you seen what I put?
Better be. What the fuck? Yeah, he takes a little tent to work. Does he still take the tent to work? Just sleep in the tent?
I don't know. I don't think he bothers anymore because he only did that because of the mosquitoes.
Oh yeah, the mosquitoes.
He used to make himself a little nest. Did you ever see it? It was like he used to put a duvet in there and sort of curl it round. Oh, I need to show you the video. So,
right.
I will speak
Right,
about. Well, maybe I'll speak to you about that after. I don't know if it's worth the pod.
Yeah, we'll talk about that after. That's not pod stuff. Right. So, this weekend, as I'm sure everybody knows who's listening to the show, it was at Brands Hatch BSB round 6, I believe it was, for BSB. And it was a good weekend's racing. Do you agree?
I didn't catch the sprint and I didn't catch any of the qualifying. So, from what I've seen, though, was good of race 1 and race 2.
Oh, the sprint and the qualifying, it was good. But again, it was good from my point of view. I mentioned this last week and the week before that. I'm not a big fan of wet races. I'm not a big fan of when it rains. I know some people like it when it rains because it adds in different factors to the race and makes it slippery and anything can happen. I personally think that I don't mind a bit of rain, like a skiff of rain here and there to make it a bit spicy, but whenever you turn up and it's raining and it just rains all day and you know it's just a wet race, I personally think it just spoils it.
Yeah,
so
I do too.
It was good. It was exciting. I enjoyed it. I did like the sprint and the qualifying as such, but again, I was just there thinking this would be so much better if it was a nice dry race.
Yeah.
But so I think the only thing we got to talk about in qualifying is, first of all, because it was raining, you know the idea of the Super Pole where they're all going out and racing round to the music.
Yeah.
They didn't do that because
there's no point.
It was raining, so. Yeah, so the spectacle wasn't there. So we missed out on that. So hopefully they can put that in another round.
Yeah.
And Chippy's put in there, also give them a chance to come up with better songs. But I've noticed that I think their songs are the same as what they were last time. I think they've had to pick a song. I think they've picked a song and that's the only song. So I think whatever song you picked the first time, that's the only song you can have. If you don't know what we're talking about, a few rounds ago, the British Superbikes did Super Pole qualifying where they went out one by one. So you basically had 3 laps. You had a warm-up lap, a fast qualifying lap, and then a slow-down lap to get yourself back in. And then during your slow-down lap, I think the next bike was going out in the warm-up lap. But whilst you were going round, and especially on your quick lap, there was a song blaring through the speakers, that your song that the rider had picked. And that's how they did the qualifying. So there was nonetheless one rider getting in another rider's way or having to slow down because of yellow flags. But it's a kind of a novelty that they only do every now and
I
again.
like it though. I think it's a great idea.
It's a good way to get them all out. It's like, go out, do 1 lap, that's your fast lap.
Yeah.
That's it. I can imagine how some riders don't like it, but it stops all that yellow flag bollocks. It stops all that he got in my way or she got in my way or, or he was trying to tail me or whatever. It stops all that. It's simply who's the fastest when you go out in your fast lap. But anyway, the music adds a little bit of fun to it, a little bit of interaction with the crowd. They were going to do that this week, but then because of the rain, it was cancelled. The only other, apart from Bridewell, absolutely smoking everybody and finishing a second in front of everybody, apart from maybe Ryan Vickers, The only other thing worth talking about, for my opinion, and qualifying, is Tito Rabat crashed out. Okay?
Yeah.
I forget the name of the corner he crashed out at. He crashed out. It would be good if I could remember the name of the corner, but it will not come to. Is it Surtees? I don't know if it's Surtees. Anyway, I'm going to say it's Surtees, but I don't know if it is. But I'll say that and make it sound like I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, he crashes out. He's in the gravel. He picks his bike up. If he goes right, because it's a clockwise track, if he goes right, he follows the way all the other traffic's going.
Yeah.
But to go left, there's a very, very slight downhill. So he should have been going uphill when he crashed. So if he goes out and left and goes anti-clockwise and goes against the way all the other riders are going, he's going downhill slightly and can maybe bump start the bike. So he runs out and he turns left and he goes the wrong way down the track, only for about 2 or 3 metres. He simply does about 2 or 3 metres. He doesn't go that far at all, because these are heavy bikes. He jumps out on it. I know it's not good. He jumps out on it. He tries to bump it. It doesn't start, and he just kind of stands there in the middle of the track with his bike. He's well out of the racing line. Now the commentators even said that, like, they didn't get really excited. They basically just said he'd get a slap wrist for
because he's going the wrong way.
But I was messaging Chippy, and he was making it sound he can tell us what he thinks next week when he's actually here, if he can be bothered turning up.
Can be bothered turning up.
I messaged him. He might have something else to do. I mentioned it to him, and he said that he was making it sound that riders would come round the corner and absolutely shit themselves, and he goes, "Oh, you'd shit yourself. You've seen a bike coming the wrong way." But when you look at it in context, he wasn't riding round the track in the wrong way. He went out, faced the wrong direction, tried to bump the bike, and it didn't start. So what I was saying to Chippy was, these riders ride round at breakneck speeds all the time, and they're used to seeing bikes on the track that have crashed.
Yeah.
It means nothing to them. They're used to getting out of the way. They're not going to... I would say there's more likely, and they're all qualifying as well, so not everybody's on a fast lap.
Yeah.
I would say there's more likely them riding around the corner going, "What the fuck's that twat doing?" Riding on round the corner. That's a reaction. They're not going to be like, "Oh my god, holy shit, he's going the wrong way. Jesus, I have to jump off my bike." That's
thing is as well, when you're riding at speed and you're trying to hit the apexes and the corners, you are looking pretty far in front of you, and to line it up the way you want to. So they would have seen it anyway. But it is naughty, really. He shouldn't have done it, but. I think Chippy's blowing it a bit out of proportion by the sounds of it, giving it the whole Mr. Health and Safety.
He was well out of the way. He wasn't in the racing line, but it does, for Chippy's defence, it does kind of beg the question: if Tito Rabat would have got the bike started, what would he have done then? Because he was going to have to do a UE, and if he does a massive UE on the track, then that does call into question.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
So,
but
at the time, he just couldn't get the bike started. Even James Whittam said, he goes, "You're never going to bump start that bike. Never.
Give it a go."
Stop. That's it. Stop. Anyway, that was qualifying. Obviously, like I said, Bridewell came first. He qualified first. Jump to. So you missed the sprint, yeah?
Yeah, I missed the sprint, so you got to the sprint.
I'll run through what I wrote for the sprint, right? So, Danny Buckham didn't make the start. I can't remember why. Again,
he's having a really, really awful season, is Danny Buckham.
He's not having a great season, and it's not nice because he mentioned when he came off last round that he wasn't really enjoying the sport now, and he's not really having a nice time, and.
Well, he was out for quite a while on injury, and that's when he started his podcast. And then he's obviously got into that, and then he's with BMW, and BMW at the moment haven't been particularly reliable, especially in the BSB. Past couple of rounds, FHO and stuff like that. Yeah, but I suppose
we'll
because
the BMW and its reliability in a bit.
Because of that, obviously he's he's just having a bit of a mare, isn't he?
Yeah.
Go on, sorry. Carry on the sprint.
He didn't make the start, right? So all the bikes go off as you'd expect. Bridewell led in the first lap for about a lap and a half, and then he has a massive moment. It's raining, it's wet,
yeah.
So he's out in front. he's probably pushing it as much as he can. He has this massive moment, and at this stage he probably thinks, I've got a championship to win, so he kind of lays off a little bit. He was racing with Vickers, and then Danny Kent was in third, so they both go past him. And that's them two are basically they disappear up the road. Them two are racing for the race win.
Yeah.
There's a massive gap behind them. Bridewell sits in third for a bit, but he just slowly goes backwards. I think he got inside his head because he was probably thinking about the championship. Because when I say he had a scare, he had a bit of a wobble, and when it's as wet as that, you can easily go down. Right.
Yeah.
So I wish he'd fuck off. Stop
I know, he's pissing me off. Chippy, you're not part of the podcast because you couldn't be asked, alright? So just leave us alone.
Yeah. You fucking getting in the way, you little dick. Right. Christian Eden got into third. Jack Kennedy was fourth. On lap 7, Christian Eden seemed to be gesticulating about something, so he came over the hill and he was kind of throwing his arms around, and they thought maybe there was a problem with his bike. However, at the start of lap 8, talking about BMW being and how reliable it is, at the start of lap 8, Leon Haslam was given a black and orange flag. His bike was smoking, and it was obviously dropping oil, so a red flag came out and it ended the race. However, the race ended on lap 8.
Yeah.
The race had to go past lap 8 because there was 12 laps in the race, so it had to go past lap 8 for it to be 2/3 distance.
Right.
So there was a will they restart the race, but there was oil in the track and it was wet, so it was hard to clear up the oil. And they said, or will we just scrap the race? So they scrapped the race, but because it wasn't 2/3 distance, they awarded half points. Now, me personally, I think it's a bit petty that they awarded half points.
Yeah.
I know they've got rules and regulations and blah blah blah, but they were on lap 8 when they stopped the race.
Yeah.
They were on the lap. If they would have finished that lap, it was 2/3 distance. That you could have made an argument that it was 2/3 distance.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm saying that is because Vickers was in the lead. Danny Kent was second. Personally, I think Danny Kent was eyeing him up for a move at some stage, but obviously he never got a chance. But anyway, Vickers won his first race and he has to take half points. And to me, I'm thinking
that's a bit of a kick in the teeth, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they should have just given him full points for the sake of half a lap. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, Leon Haslam wasn't awarded any points, even though he was in like 5th or 6th at the time, because it was his bike that caused the red flag. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of people asking the question, why did Leon Haslam not get any points? It's like, because his bike was the one that caused the red flag. I thought that would have been obvious. Like, if you crash and cause a red flag, it's not like, oh well, he was in 6th place when he crashed. So
yeah, but the thing is, with the mechanical issue, if the race had carried on, he would have dropped to the back anyway and got no points anyway.
Yeah, if the race had carried on, he got a black and orange flag, which basically means you had to come in, get off the track.
So he wouldn't have got points anyway, so sure up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really good to see Danny Kent got second, though.
I honestly think Danny Kent could have won that race, and I think he would have won that race. And I don't want to do any disrespect to Vickers.
Yeah.
Is it Ryan Vickers?
Yeah.
Is that his first name, Ryan? I don't want to give any disrespect to Ryan Vickers because he earned that race win. He definitely did. And who knows, if Danny Kent would have tried to get past him, Ryan Vickers could have held his own. He did for the first 7.5, 8 laps.
Yeah.
But I just got the impression that Danny Kent was eyeing him up for something. But anyway, it would have been class to see. For me, I'm more of a Danny Kent fan than I am a Ryan Vickers fan. Sorry, Vickers, but yeah, really good to see Ryan Vickers get his race win. He was over the moon about it. Everybody was coming up to congratulate him. You could see everybody knew how much it meant to him. Like Leon Haslam went up and I think apologised for the race being stopped, and because he realised that he could have won a full race. And Bridewell was up saying congratulations. They all were up saying congratulations to him. So you can tell the whole paddock.
Yeah.
As much as they're all racing each other, you can tell they all know what they're there for. And yeah, it was good to see.
Yeah, that's good.
So on that race, Vickers, Kent, Eden, Kennedy, O'Halloran, Bridewell was 6th.
Yeah.
And Glenn Irwin, or then it was Storm Stacey, Peter Hickman, and Glenn Irwin. So Glenn Irwin was down in 9th. Not a great race for him.
That's actually not bad for Peter
Chippy,
to be fair. Yeah,
I know. Chippy just wants us to mention that he thinks that Vickers been doing well the past few weeks, which I would agree he has been coming on the past few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good, but again, I think the rain spoiled it a little bit. And another reason is because Haslam's bike was smoking a good bit. But it was... I think in the earlier laps, like lap 5, lap 6, they were all bunched up and there was still a lot of spray coming off the bikes. So it was maybe harder to see the smoke.
Maybe.
And it was definitely harder to see the oil in the track because there was so much water on the track that you couldn't really see it as much. Once they had stopped and they were stopped riding and it time to spread, you could notice it. But it's just another one of the reasons why I think wet races just annoy me.
Yeah, it's better to have a dry one really, because then, well, yeah, it causes less problems.
Yeah. Then there was the Super Sport had a sprint race as well. I've not written down any notes for it.
No,
but Richard Cooper was in it, and he just absolutely blitzed everybody. I think because
he came off. Was the 900 Cup? Did that run? That didn't run until the next day, did it?
Well, like, they had the Heat 1 and Heat 2, which was on the.
But he was like riding. He was riding the 900s, then jumping straight onto the Super Sport, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bloody hell!
Yeah, so
what
he
machine!
Finished the 900s. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
He absolutely blitzed the field with everybody. But Tom Booth Amos probably could have held it to him, but he had a mechanical in the Super Sport and had to pull out, and then that affected his race 2 as well, which we will come to. Sorry, listeners, I know we don't go into great detail about the other bikes, but
there's only so much time. We could go on for days, you know.
There's only an hour now, and we've only gone on to race 2. Right, so race 2. Did you watch race 2? Did you get a chance?
Do we not need to smash out race 1 first?
Well, it says race 1, but it's the sprint's kind of race 1, race 1's kind of race 2, race 2's kind of race 3. I just got race 1 down. Right, so let's say the first full race. That's how we say it, because I don't know. How do you like to say it? These guys listening at home. How do you like to say it? Do you like to call it sprint race, race 1, race 2? Or do you like to call it sprint race, feature race, whatever? Or do you just call it race 1, race 2, race 3?
It would be easier just to do it that way, wouldn't it?
I think if you go on to the TSL timing sheets, they just say race 1, race 2, race 3. Because it confused me. I hit race 2 and I seen the timings and I was like, that's not the results of race 2. And then I realised that their race 2 was my race 1. So yeah, podcast bigbadbs.co.uk. Let us know what you think. Alright, so race, the first main race 1, race 2, whatever. Right. It was a dry race.
Yeah, it definitely was.
That was good. Right. This time Kent took the lead and he was followed by Eden and Vickers. It was the same people from the podium in the last race that was in the top 3. I was well happy. Kent was in front.
Yeah, I was as well.
I genuinely thought this is Kent's weekend. He's winning a race this weekend. Either this one or the next one. He definitely looks like he's winning a race. Bridewell was in 6th and Glen Irwin was in 7th. Now, I have noticed that Glen Irwin doesn't start races very well.
Yeah.
Because even if you go back to Silverstone, I remember him at Silverstone in the first round. He had to pull his way through the field. He's not a great starter.
No.
Maybe he'll prove me wrong next.
Perhaps, yeah.
As Alton Park next. Tom Nee, Frank O'Born and Tito Rabat crashed out. This was like lap 2 or lap 3 or something. Tito Rabat had an absolutely horrible weekend. Qualified badly, crashed out in this race. Just wasn't having a good weekend at all. Lap 5, O'Halloran was in 4th. He was keeping Bridewell at bay. He was just behind. Irwin was battling for Haslam just behind the two of them, and for a few laps that was just the status quo. Jack Kennedy, Kyle Ryde and Lee Bob Jackson made up the top 10. Then Dean Harrison crashes out. It looked pretty nasty, but he went flying into the air fence, so it wasn't that bad. But it's saying that I wouldn't want to do it, but it looked pretty nasty. But it was fine. He walked away. His bike
hit the fence and had to bounce back, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, I say it looked pretty nasty, and it was all right. Like, Jesus, if it happened to me, I'd probably be out for 2 weeks with trauma. But I dare say he'd probably just jump back on his bike.
Because at first I thought he'd maybe gone under the barrier, And then when you look,
But he was kind of.
It looked like he was just on his hands and knees, sort of saying, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
Yeah,
he probably was
just going to hide in.
Yeah.
But he crashed out and he brought out a safety car because I think they were trying to retrieve the bike and check the air fence.
Yeah.
Bridewell was the biggest benefactor from the safety car because before the crash there was a big gap between the top three and O'Halloran and Bridewell, so he was the biggest benefactor from that because it bunched them all up.
Yeah.
Over the next few laps he made his way to the front. By lap 15 he was in the front with a comfortable lead, and that was all she wrote in terms of race winner. It was a good battle for the podium places. Adam came second and Kent came third. Irwin was fourth and Vickers got fifth.
Yeah.
It's good. That was Danny Kent's second podium of the weekend.
So good.
One in a dry race and one in a wet race. So he had a good weekend up until then.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Brooks came ninth. You're talking about the FHOs, the BMWs. They didn't have a great weekend this weekend at all.
No.
Like Josh Brooks won. Like I don't want to just discount Peter Hickman because he's an amazing rider.
He is.
I think we can all agree Peter Hickman is just not gelling this season at all. Well, the TT aside, he's just not gelling this season at all.
No, he's not.
BSB,
not
whatever's going on, don't know what it is. But Josh Brooks is one weekend he's winning, and the next weekend he's just nowhere to be seen.
But then again, is this down to the BMW's reliability, which we have been seeing so much negative reliability recently?
Yeah, that is true. Because you take Leon Haslam, he's a different team, but he's on a BMW and he was spitting oil up the road. But
didn't he? He had a didn't he have a gear lever snap as well?
Who's that?
Leon Haslam. His gear lever snapped. I'm sure it did. Because there was 2 gear levers that snapped this weekend.
Jesus. Was that on the sprint race or on one of the other
That
races?
was on one of the other races, and I believe it was on... Oh, God, I'm going to have to think now. I think... it was either race 1 or race 2. You could see it. The linkage for the gear lever, it was just dangling down as he was going round. And it happened to 2 bikes. Yeah. One was BMW, and I can't remember what the other one was. But not good.
I do remember seeing something about like stuff hanging off a bike. Where were we at this weekend? We were at Brands Hatch. So let's see, race 2 results. Oh, do go away. Race 2 results. Leon Haslam did not finish race 2, so maybe that was why.
Yeah.
I don't remember him crashing.
I remember the gear. It was just dangling down on its cable, and I was like, Jesus! But what you got to think of, and the pundits were talking about it, is that gear lever is only held in by an M6 bolt. So over time, eventually, that is, well, I suppose if you're giving it the pins and going up and down the gears, that M6 bolt could give, and it obviously did happen. Can't remember who the other rider was, and the exact same thing happened to his gear lever.
Actually, I remember James Whittam going, "That's just an M6 bolt, is that?"
He did, yeah.
I remember that.
Just an M6 bolt, is that? Sometimes can't be helped. I love James Whittam, man. He's class.
So do I. love listening to him. He's so good. He just seems like such a down-to-earth bloke whenever he's...
It was funny when I was at Knock Hill, because I was trying not to go full fanboy, and I'm there in the toilets, as you do, stood there at the urinals. I go to wash my hands.
Having a wank.
Not the urinals, maybe the cubicle. But he was there. I was there washing my hands, and he just came up to me and started washing his hands. I was like, "You alright?" He was like, "Not so bad, lad. How are you?" I was like, "Not so bad." I was like, "It's James Whittam."
Did you want to be like, "Oh, I'm from Yorkshire too. I'm also from Yorkshire"?
No, I wasn't going to do that. No.
Did you go full Yorkshire? Hey up, lad, I drink Yorkshire too.
Well, no, he said, "Hey up, lad." So, do you know what? It brings it out of you. I bet when you go back to Ireland, and if I was to go to Ireland with you, I wouldn't be able to understand a word you were saying.
Whenever I go back home, even my wife doesn't understand me. So I went back home. I live in County Antrim in Northern Ireland, so I went back there, and we've got a bit of a different dialect to a lot of the other people from Ireland. So we've got like a Scottish twang to us. So some people even think we're from Scotland at times. But we went back home, and my daughter said to me, she's like, Daddy, everybody sounds funny. She said that to my sister, and my sister was like, do you not think your daddy sounds funny? And she was like, no. I was like, but I sound like everybody here, but I do, yeah. As soon as I go back home, I start talking faster, I get thicker, I get broader, my accent just, and nobody can understand what I'm saying. And this weekend I'm going back to Armoy, and our mate Jace is going with me. Him and his old man, I'm taking them back, so we're going to watch the road racing, and they're not going to understand a word I say whenever I get back.
Oh my god, Jace in Ireland, he's going to get lost. He's going to get that drunk, he's just going to get lost in Ireland.
Oh, he's going to love it. Just Armoy's class, because it's just back bikes. Just get back, watch bikes. Yeah, so we're arriving there on a Thursday, landing on Thursday night. Friday, there's roads close at 11 on Friday. We're only like 20 minutes down the road, so get up. My sister's going to give us a lift and pick us up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just going to watch bikes and drink beer all day, and then do the same on a Saturday. And then Sunday, probably just go to the pub and drink more beer on a Saturday.
See, it's funny when you say, when you go back home, and obviously you become more broad in your accent. I do it when I'm with my dad, like, you know. It just happens, and Chippy's funny, right? When Chippy's dad's up and he's around at Christmas time, he's like, "All right, Joe," he like proper goes for it. Like you can hear the Brummie twang, and it's so funny.
Because whenever you speak to him, he's like, "Oh, I'm from Devon. I like Devon."
And then his dad comes up and he's like, "Oh, Dad, can you get us another Chinzano lemonade?"
I would love to hear him with his full brum.
It is funny. It is funny.
Right.
Should we move on to race 2 then? Or race 3 as you call it.
Race 3. Right. So, this is probably the best race of the weekend, if not the best race of the season. It was class. Did you watch it? Yeah.
Yes, I did watch it. Yeah, it was very good.
Right. It was another good start from Danny Kent. Josh Brooks crashed out in the first corner. I think Ryan Vickers shut the door on him.
Yeah.
And racing incident. They didn't do it on purpose. And it was another mediocre start from Glenn Irwin. This is what I'm talking about. The guy doesn't start very well.
No.
I think he was down like 9th at one stage. I'm not sure. So, no, he wasn't, because he was in the top 6. So, but I think this is about lap 3 or 4. Top 6 was Eden, Kent, Bridewell, Irwin, Vickers and Haslam. The race was wheel to wheel for quite a bit. Bridewell didn't get to the front as quick as I thought he might. Irwin could always see him the whole time. Irwin was just there, and every time Bridewell made a move and went forward, Irwin, you could see him. Like you see the monkeys going in his little head. He's like, I've got to go as well. He was desperate not to let him get away. However, when the two of them started racing, to me, Bridewell looked solid and sturdy, but Irwin looked nervous and jittery the whole time.
There was one corner. There was one corner that Glenn Irwin seemed to really sort of like not like, and had a bit of a sort of it's a bit wobbly like.
I noticed that, and it was like he was a rodeo bull.
Yeah,
just holding on.
It was very strange.
It was almost like he was thinking, I need to go fly to keep up with him, and he was just holding on, and like, I'm just going to hold on.
Yeah, I think that was there was a bit of that to it, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was another good ride from Vickers and Eden. They held their own against the PBM Ducati riders.
They did,
Danny
yeah.
Kent looked up for it as well, and he never lost sight of the top 4. Danny Kent was in 5th, and at one stage the top 4 took off, but Kent managed to draw them back. So he definitely looked up for it, like he was in for a race. With 4 laps to go, however, Bridewell and Glenn Irwin were at the front, and they were pulling a gap. You could sense that there was more than just a championship up for grabs. There was more than just points. Like, obviously Glenn Irwin wants to be the number, like the first person you want to beat is your teammate.
Yeah,
like
of course.
Obviously they're front. They're at the tip of the spear for the championship, but they just want to beat each other's teammates. Bridewell though was unshaken and never steered a wheel wrong. Irwin couldn't even attempt to pass without making a risky move somewhere. Like, Bridewell just basically never even gave him a chance.
I was expecting him to dive forward, sort of. You could tell on the last couple of laps, Glenn was trying to dive forward to try and just get past him.
Yeah.
Possibly line it up.
I think if it had been anybody else but his teammate, he might have done that. Because if it's not your teammate and you do it and you crash and you go in that evening and you say, look, I'm sorry, but I hate to try something. I'm trying to win a race.
Yeah.
And, and you don't. Their team manager's like, "Oh, you're a fucking twat" or whatever. You can just disappear from that. But if he does that and walks into his own team,
I know.
people bear and be like, "Oh,
sorry."
Like, his team manager's going to be like, what are you playing at?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, like. I held my breath for the last 4 or 5 laps because I was expecting a move to come, and they were wheel to wheel the whole time. They were flying around there. It was sensational to watch. It blows my mind how they can do that.
Yeah,
like there's just things like I watch people playing football, and I think, yes, you're exceptional at football, but I could do that. Obviously, I'm not Ronaldo, you know what I mean? But I feel like I could do that. I watch people. Play tennis and stuff, and I think, yes, you're exceptional, but I could do that. I watch people do stuff like ski jumping, and I think, no fucking way could I ever do that. Some mad bastard going down a hill and doing that, no way. And Bridewell and Glenn Irwin ticked that box. No way I could do that.
No,
the way they were riding around that track, it was insane. Absolutely hats off to them, or helmets off to them. They were absolutely phenomenal the way they were riding around that, and how close they were to each other, and the amount of trust they had in each other. Like, oh God! Do you ever drive in the motorway? Like I do it in the trucks, but do you ever drive in the motorway where you get up close to somebody and you're both going at the same speed, and you just get this little thing in the back of your head says, God, if he brakes, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
And then you start hanging back a little bit. These guys are just wheel to wheel, and I know they're not going to brake unless they have to, but they're wheel to wheel, and they're flying around that at 100 and something mile an hour, and it just, oh, definitely, that race was superb. It was one of the best races, like head-to-head races I've seen, full stop, all year.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
So good.
Like my old man, when he races, he said to me, a lot of it is you have to put 100% trust in your tyres. If you can do that, then you can go around a track fast. If you don't trust your tyres, then you just won't.
Yeah, you just have to believe that grip.
Yeah, you have to believe that it's going to grip. But yeah, it was an absolutely sensational race. It was really good to watch.
I think at this point in the season, if you said to me you can go back and rewatch any race, that will probably be the one I'd pick.
Yeah, it was very good.
I'm struggling to think of any other race that was, to me, it was that exciting. Like, maybe MotoGP, there might have been a race, but nothing jumps to my mind.
I don't know, the World Supers, the last World Supers I thought was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty good, yeah, but that was made even better by the fact that Batista didn't win everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a really, really good race. Chippy has thrown in a few other notes from other races.
Of course he has, yeah.
Well, we should talk about them anyway. So he said there about the British Talent Cup. He wants to give a shout out to Alexander Rowan coming from 20th to 3rd in 2 laps.
That is amazing.
Which is phenomenal. You hate to be a good talent to do that. Fantastic battle, and took 3rd in the run to the line to get his first podium. So you think if you've never had a podium before and you're sitting in 20th, you're probably thinking this is it.
Yeah.
This is terrible, what a start. But he managed to get himself up to 3rd place, so really well done. He's really pleased for him, and he had a good battle with Evan Belford. And then Evan Belford crashed, so he's just been phenomenal all year. He went out in the first race because it was wet. He's just been. I know you could maybe say, well, is it Johnny Garness is not there, and that's why he's just absolutely destroying it.
Maybe.
But he's so far ahead. You could believe that him and Johnny Garness would be in a good fight. But anyway, he threw it up the road. So. But I'm pretty sure he had a better result in the second British Talent Cup race. He's also put in here, I don't know why, he said solid weekend for Richard Cooper, but Chippy hates Richard Cooper.
Yeah, he really does.
He doesn't like Richard Cooper, so I don't know why he's brought that. So he's just mentioned that So he said he won the British Supersport. I had to put in there in commas, in the rain. He won in the rain. He came 4th in the second race.
Because that makes... it's in the rain.
Yeah. And obviously F900 Cup, because nobody else...
Well, I'm surprised Chippy wasn't hoping he fell off in the rain, to be honest. He didn't like him that much, but... Hey-ho.
Did you watch the second Supersport race?
Oh, did I? I did watch a Supersport race, but I can't remember which one it was.
So I think I'm pretty sure it's a Supersport. So Tom Booth Amos went out in the first race in the Saturday, and he had a mechanical failure. And because he had a mechanical failure and he couldn't go around the track at any sort of speed because it was early on, he never got a good time to get like good position in the second race.
Yeah.
So he started in 10th, and then after about a lap, I think he was down in 21st.
Oh.
But he was really far down in 21st. Now he says himself that he was stuck behind people he's not normally stuck behind, and he says they were braking too early because I think he's suggesting that they're not as good as him, maybe, which is
probably true. If he's usually
true, yeah.
If he's usually behind other people that are up there, then yeah, he's probably right there. They maybe aren't.
So he says they were braking too early, and because they broke so early, it put him off his rhythm. He had to brake. He broke too hard, went into the gravel, and ended up in 21st. The remainder of the race, like there was a race going on. I can't even remember who won it. Actually, I can find out who won the race because it's not fair to say I can't remember who won the race. But the remainder of the race, Tom Booth Amos was just on a mission. He was just on an absolute mission to get up that. And so, yeah, Rhys Irwin won the race. Rhys Irwin won the race, and Ben Curry came second. Obviously, Ben Curry's racing for the championship title.
Yeah.
Tom Booth Amos came third.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Absolutely destroyed it. Like from 21st and just smoked through the whole field. And I think the biggest compliment to that was Richard Cooper was in there. And Richard Cooper has a really good rider. He's a formidable rider, and he proved that in the first Supersport race that he went out and he won it. He's absolutely rinsing it with the F900 Cup. He's won Northwests. You know what I mean? He's a world champion or a British champion, in his own right.
Yeah.
He's a good rider, and the fact that Tom Booth Amos was able to catch up with him, and if he'd have had enough laps, eventually he would have caught. He
probably would have. Yeah.
He was. I think he did the penultimate lap. He did the quickest lap of the race. Like, you talk about trusting tyres. You get to the end of the race and you're doing the quickest lap of the race. For me, that was the ride of the day. Honestly, I know you could argue, say, well, that's a juxtaposition because he fucked up and that's why he ended up in 21st. Yes, possibly, but all that was due to his mechanical failure in the first race.
Yeah.
To me, I think the best ride of the day for me was Tom Booth Amos, Supersport Race 2, just coming back to finish on the podium. It was phenomenal, and I was just screaming at him the whole time. I was like, fuck it, come on, because it was like, at one stage they were like, oh, he's going to get fourth, and I was like, never mind fourth, he's going to get a podium at the rate he's going.
Yeah.
And eventually he did. So I just wanted to mention that. I know there's a lot of racing on the British Superbikes we could talk about, like Super Stock, and there's like Junior Super Sport and blah blah blah, but we just don't have time to go on about.
Did you see James Whittam talking to Ben Curry on the track? So funny. I think Ben said something like, sometimes you ride shit in the rain, sometimes you ride shit in the dry. And he's like, just gonna let you know, Ben, we're live. Sorry about that. I love Ben Curry. That. He always swears on the microphone and completely forgets he's actually live on TV.
I was a little bit behind you because I'd paused it, probably one of Wayne's or something. I paused it, and then I seen you saying that Ben Curry always says shit on the microphone, and whenever you said shit, I was expecting just some random stuff, and then I heard him saying it. Like he said, sometimes you drive shit in the ride. I was like, yeah, he literally says shit in the microphone. Yeah, it was funny. It was good that.
Oh, sorry about that, folks. Brilliant. So that sort of sums up the weekend then, doesn't it, really?
Right, Chippy's also put in here, he just wants to highlight that despite only having one bike in the grid, Haslam's Rocket BMW is ahead of FHO BMW in the standings. He'd like to see them have a second bike and maybe even challenge for the team championship. And although it's always been the same for Oxford Products Ducati, he would like to see Christian Iden have a teammate, potentially Ben Curry, as we were just talking about, after his good performance in the season in the V2 and the British Supersport. obviously Chippy wants to highlight that because he's sexist and he hates FHO.
Yes,
and
he
hates
does.
The fact that there's a strong, independent woman who is leading.
Yeah, he's
that
very
team.
sexist, isn't he? He always has been. Hates Anna Carrasco.
No, but as soon as you see something on TV, and it's like, as soon as you see like a girl on it or a woman on it, you almost know straight away Chippy's going to hate that.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he sends you a message. Oh, I hate that. And I was like, what do you hate? And he tries to say, oh, it's because of this and that. And it's like, no, it's not. It's because there was a woman there. That's why. He's such a sexist.
Yeah, well.
Really landed him, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. I love this one. Maybe you should turn up for the pods and it won't happen, Chippy. Oh, dear. Should we
Anyway.
move on to silly season then?
We don't have a great deal.
We
for
don't
silly
have a
season.
great deal for silly season, but at least we've got a little bit there.
Well, the first one's not even real. It's just like what we heard at the time. We're just reporting on something that's happened and been resolved already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so anybody that's really anti bikes is probably already knows, but there was a rumour that LCR was going to leave Honda and go to KTM because they have LCR have come out and said that it's true. KTM did approach them, but Lucio Cecchinello has confirmed that they are staying loyal to Honda
Yeah.
and they've got a contract until the end of 2024 and they're going to honour it. So. But KTM maybe said to them 2025, do I come to us? Who knows?
Well, that'll be something. Yeah, we'll see later on, won't it?
But I didn't think. I thought LCR, Lucio Cecchinello seemed pretty loyal in the fact that if they had a contract, they would honour it. It didn't remind me of the sort of team owner or the sort of team that was comfortable creating a lot of friction. You know what I mean? I always got the impression that they just, this is what we are. This is what we've signed up to, and we're going to stick to that and see it through, regardless of what happens. And let's be honest, this is how I've thought it. LCR are the only Honda to win a race this season, and they probably will be the only Honda to win a race.
I think you're right there. Yeah.
And I think that's good in the sense that next year, whenever they're sitting round the table and they're talking budgets, I honestly think Lucio Cecchinello can walk in there with his chest out and be like, come on, you hit to get something here. If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't even have a race win.
Yeah. That's true.
But then if they hadn't got that race win, Honda might get more concessions, so who knows, maybe
Yeah.
piss them off because of that.
There you go. And the only other rumour this week is Joan Mir is to replace Di Antonio at the Gresini Ducati. Joan Mir going to Ducati?
Well, the thing is, DG Antonio, what's he doing? What's he
Yeah,
doing
that's.
there?
But then there's.
I genuinely thought he would have done more. I thought he was going to be more exciting on the Ducati, and he's on arguably the best, well, definitely the best manufacturer this year.
Yeah.
And he's not really doing anything at all. He's not showing any signs that he's going to be up there. Never mind, is up there. There's not even any flashes of brilliance. You know what I mean?
Not really, no. I mean,
Whereas-
it's not. There's not ever sort of been up there, like you say. It's not so good for him. What do you reckon with Di Antonio then? Do you reckon World Supers? Or do you think he'll stay
If there's a bike.
in
Well,
MotoGP?
obviously, I would imagine if he's got the opportunity, he would rather stay in MotoGP.
Well, of course. So anybody would. wouldn't they?
I think if he goes to World Superbikes, he'll not do anything there either
No.
because World Superbikes is competitive enough that nobody
Yeah.
can walk in there and just think they're going to win everything. Maybe if Marc Marquez went to World Superbikes, you could be pretty certain that he would do really well, or Quartararo maybe, and even then that's only if they get the right bikes.
Yeah.
But I can't see DG and Antonio going to World Superbikes and really setting the world on fire. I think he'll go there and struggle just as much as he's doing now.
Probably.
British Superbikes, Moto America. But if he can I'd imagine if he can stay in MotoGP, he will.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's only a rumour, so who knows? He might be already signed for the Ducati next year. We just don't know.
That's why it's called silly season, that's right.
And this episode's probably going to be a lot quicker than normal, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is, because there hasn't been an awful lot, has there? So, I mean, how are we looking?
We're about an hour and
Hour
20
and a half
minutes,
in, yeah, that's all right.
We're coming on to our predictions.
Predictions, and I didn't really have much choice on predictions here, so I just went for the triple.
Well, you didn't have much choice because you do the thing you always do. You never look at the doc until about an hour before we're due to record.
Oh, well, yeah.
And I always send you messages. I put a message in the group chat saying, have you looked at the doc?
And then I do look at the doc, and then by the time I've looked at it, you've got predictions in. And the only other time I put predictions in, you couldn't even freaking see them. So
Because you wrote them in white ink.
that's because I didn't realise you guys had a freaking white background, which I now have.
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't realise?
I had a black
white
background.
Everything black backgrounds is not the default and anything.
Well,
ever.
for some reason, mine was. Or I did something to mess it up. I don't know.
What's your Facebook and stuff? Do you have a white background?
Yes,
or
I do
black
have a
background?
white background on that.
I've got a black background for Facebook.
There you go, see?
And I was on Facebook the other day, and then I said to my wife about it. So I looked on hers, or was it my wife, or was it somebody else? No, it was definitely my wife, because I can't think of anybody else's Facebook I'd be on. No, it wasn't at work, so it must have been my wife's. And I looked at it with a white background, and I was like, this is just so bizarre now. It just looks so weird.
See, this doc to me looks weird now it's got a white background.
Yeah.
But hey ho.
Yeah, if I can have a black background, I would have one. But the doc's white. I don't know why. But now that I know, I'm going to keep it white because I don't want that to happen to me with the white ink. If I heard this somewhere else, I think it was in a different podcast. If you work with computers, I know sometimes you work with computers. If you work with computers, and our little fupa proves it, if you work with computers and you want to fuck with somebody's head, you know the way sometimes you walk in and you hit Control Alt and you hit the down button and it turns.
Yes, Chippy used to do it to me every day.
Right. If you really want to mess with somebody, go into their emails and change their cursor to white. Because nobody would think about it. People would just start typing and be like, "What's going on? Why can I not see any words?" I don't think a lot of people would catch on straight away that it's because they're in white ink. So if you work with computers and somebody leaves their computer open and you've got the opportunity, just go in to their emails or their words or whatever and just change their ink to white ink and see if they don't notice. See how long it takes them. They'll be there getting raging like, why the fuck? That would piss me off.
Did I tell you what I did with my work emails not so long ago?
No, you enlighten me. Is this podcast stuff?
Yeah, I can say this. Basically, in our line of work, when you get an email, it's usually a blanket email sent to everybody, and it's usually from a very important person. And I thought this was one of these emails where you have to accept it or decline it. Some of them are like that, or there's like a tentative button. So
I think you put it on the chat.
It gave some recommendations on what to say, and I thought this was one of them where you had to accept it. So I hit the recommendation thinking, well, it was something that didn't apply to me. So I sent the reply saying, "Take me off your mailing list." That's all it said to this very important person. But it didn't just get sent to her, it got sent to every single person where we worked at. So everybody got an email saying to this very important person, "Take me off your mailing list," which I then got dragged into the office and got questioned about.
And you basically just went, "I'm fucking stupid."
Yeah, basically. I just went, "Sorry, I thought it was one of them I have to accept." I pressed the button. We all laughed about it. It was serious until they realised what I'd done.
Do you know when you're talking about very important person, you can't just say VIP, everybody understands.
Well.
It was a VIP. Fuck that. Be no more VIPs in my life. So,
predictions.
Let's move on to our predictions.
For the World Superbikes.
Do you want to go first?
I'll go first. So mine's Johnny Ray, seeing as though
Right.
I can't really think of who else would be up there. So,
Well, who else? Well,
Alex Lowe's.
to be honest, you're as much. To be honest, there's as much chance of Locatelli winning a race this year.
do you know what?
versus John Ray,
I
to
did
be
think
honest.
about Locatelli actually, but yeah.
So I have gone for Top Rack. I think that Top Rack will continue to apply the pressure to Batista.
I hope so, because it's
And-
brilliant.
Yeah, and I don't know if the rev difference is going to make it, but we still don't know if Imola was a one-off or if Imola was because of the rev difference between Ducati and the increase to Yamaha or whatever.
It'll be interesting
so
to
that
see.
still remains to be seen. So I'm going for Top Rack on that sense. And young Chippy has gone for,
Batista.
which was pretty obvious because, like we said, there's only a few people.
That's
that
who he
really won
chose.
the race.
Like last week, he had Batista for every race.
For the sprint race, that was race 1. For the sprint race, the first race on the Sunday, I again have gone for Top Rack because I think the race that he's most likely going to win will be the sprint race.
It
although I
will
think he
be,
won
yeah.
race 1.
I think so as well. I've gone for Johnny Ray again.
Yeah. And Chippy again has gone for,
Bautista.
yeah. And for race 2, we'll just stick to this format now.
Yeah.
For race 2, I have gone for Batista simply because I think it's naive to think that Batista's not going to win a race
Yep.
all weekend. Top Rack. Chippy has gone for
Top Rack.
Top Rack, and you have obviously gone for
Johnny Ray for the triple. Come on, Johnny.
Johnny Ray, because that's all there is.
Big Johnny. Oh, well, you never know. Hopefully he'll have his 250 rev increase this race.
Well, we don't know what's happening. I've not seen anything on the news to suggest that's going to happen or not, but
That'd be cool.
we'll see. Right.
Yeah.
So that's our predictions for the Czech round of
The World Superbikes.
which
And if anybody has predictions of their own for the World Superbikes, you can send us a message on podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk, or you can speak to us on our Facebook group, the Big Bad BS. Send in your predictions. Tell us what you think is going to happen at the World Superbikes, because we'd like to hear it.
yeah, our Facebook group, the Big Bad BS, is probably the best place to get that sort of information on there.
Yeah.
We do have other socials. Do you want to run through our
I
socials?
can
Ash?
do. So obviously I said the first one, but I'll say it again. So you can contact us on our email, podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. We are on YouTube, the Big Bad Bike Show. Please like and subscribe. Share it if you can. We'd like to keep them subscribers coming up. Hopefully we can have another little dance when we hit 200. We've got Twitter at the Big Bad BS, all one word. Instagram, the Big Bad Bike Show, and we are on Facebook, the Big Bad Bike Show. But like we say, the most interaction you'll get is probably on our Facebook group, which is the Big Bad BS. If you want to contact us directly, you've got Sam on Twitter at the Big Bad Biker. I'm on Instagram, the Up North Biker, and Chippy's Twitter is at MotoChippy.
Yeah. Chippy and myself, you as well, Ash, we're all on Threads too.
We are on Threads as well,
I
yeah.
believe it's just the same, isn't it?
All
Big
the
Bad
same
Biker,
names,
Up
yeah.
North Biker, at MotoChippy. Yeah.
Contact us on there.
Right. So that's the podcast pretty much out of the way, but we might talk a little bit of shit because I've got a little bit of maybe news
Okay.
to talk about. So, as you know, I'm borderline unemployed at the minute. I know you had a bit of a laugh the last time I said
Yeah, I did apologise for that because you were like, but it's only because I know your situation, and it's like when you went, yeah, I'm unemployed. I just kind of went, ha. And that maybe
Yeah, so-
to listeners maybe sounded a bit insensitive from me, but
oh well, who cares? That was funny. So I'm reaching that stage where I will be actively looking for work. But for the next couple of weeks and month or so, I'm comfortable enough where I can just kind of lay low. But my wife and my kids have not seen their mum or grandparents in a long time. So they're like, oh, we'll go down to my mum's house and chill out there for a week. And my wife was like, "Do you want to come?" And I didn't know what to say. I was like, she's asking me if I want to come rather than telling me to come. And she's like, we'll hit you put the dog in and get the dog. And I was like, all right, so cool. I was like, yeah, I'll stay here. I'll just look after the dog. Because it does save us. We put the dog into a kennel. It's a absolute.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Kennel, so it saves. Yeah. So I'm just sitting here and I'm like, so I just had to hang out by myself for a week in my house. And then it struck me. I had this light bulb moment. I was like, brilliant. I've got a week to myself. So tomorrow I'm picking up the phone and I'm going to ring up the local biking place and just be like, can you fit me in for some tests?
Very good.
So hopefully by the end of August I'll have my big bad bike license.
Oh, that would be class if you do.
Of course, I'll ring up tomorrow and they might be like, no, we've got no availability. It's a bit late, but I don't know.
So when you've passed your test, how long are you going to be sort of looking at before you get your big bike then? Is it fairly soon after, do you think, or...?
It depends because, like, I'm not loaded, but I'm comfortable enough, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I've got enough money that I could go out and just buy a brand new bike off the shelf. But I say a brand new bike, I don't mean all singing and dancing.
Yeah, but do you mean like some in finance or something like that?
No, I could probably go out and buy a fairly decent bike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do that because I didn't want to waste my money.
No.
On the first bike. So I think it all comes down to it has to be a bike I want matched with a price that I want to pay and give you that warm fuzzy feeling, because you know me, I could brood over something for months.
Yes, you
sit there and think. But similarly, if everything just tickles me the right way, I can just be really spontaneous and just go do something stupid. But when it comes to spending large amount of money, I usually take my time and do it really slowly. So I don't know. I don't think there'll be any real spontaneous.
You still haven't given me, because I love bike shopping and I'm very good at it, and you still haven't given me a budget yet. I want a budget so I can look for bikes for you.
A budget, you're probably talking about...
Just think, you'll get, what, $12.50 roughly, maybe even a little bit more for your 125.
Well, I like to be cautious, so I'll say a grand. I'll get a grand from a 125.
Yeah, but you've got to consider, it's only just past MOT, so...
Yeah.
Is that to consider? Someone doesn't have to mess around doing that, as long as you service and that. So let's just say £1,200.
All right. So I've got 1,200 already in the Skyrocket.
Yeah.
You're probably looking at a budget of around £4,000.
Right. Well, I'm going to be able to find some really good bikes at that price. So I'm going to start.
And when I say a budget around £4,000, like I said, if it tickles you the right way, you can usually add an extra 500.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But I'm aiming for that sort of £4,000 mark, and like there are loads, like there's loads of bikes out there that I see, and then it comes down to like what sort of bike I want. Obviously, you know what I want. I want a sort of sports tourer. That's what I want.
But from what
obviously I want to ride everything.
Yeah, but from what well, I don't know. From what I've heard of what you want to do on it, you're telling me that you'd probably rather have a tourer than a sports tourer.
Yeah, I think just that bit of both, though.
Yeah, I mean a VFR 800 would be a class first bike, sports tourer, brilliant. Mm-hmm. And you can get them for roughly around $3,000 with low mileage, panniers on them.
Yeah, I definitely like the idea of panniers.
Yeah, you need a panniers.
I see guys riding around on a sports bike, and that's fine. And that I do see the appeal to that.
Yeah.
Whenever somebody goes flying by you fast and they're going that fast that their fucking leathers are rippling in the wind, and I'm like, that's cool. That's really good. Like, you know, a part of me does want to do that. But whenever I see some, and this is just my old man coming out. Whenever I see some, like, you know, you can't see for leathers and helmet, but you see some guy ride past and you think it's like probably an old man, and they got the panniers on and the top box, and they got like a tank bag, and you're just there sat up and they're just cruising past you, and you just think, oh, where the fuck is he going? what is he doing? What's he got planned this weekend? And I'm like, I want that. That's what I want. I just want that adventure, man. That's what I want. I'm reaching a stage in my life My wife doesn't know this yet. But I'm reaching a stage in my life where my kids aren't as hard to look after, and they're starting to find their own identity. And even at the minute, it's got to a stage where they're like, "Daddy, can I go outside?" And they're old enough where I can just let them go.
Yeah.
And I can trust them. And I maybe don't see them for like 2 hours, and then they come back and they're like, "Can I have a drink?" And you're like, "Yeah, sure, have a drink." And then they disappear again. And they're only going to get older, and they're only going to get more and more freedom, and then it's just going to come to that stage where it's like, well, I don't need to be a daddy anymore. Obviously, I'll always be a daddy, you know what I mean? I'll always be their dad, but I'll just have that more time and freedom in my hand, and I want that adventure, man. I want to just, I want to do the NC500.
The NC500. Well, when you get a bike, we can go together and do it. It'll be brilliant.
Oh yes, I want to do it. Yes,
it'll be good.
Oh, just makes me excited just thinking about That's what I want to do.
But you would be better off doing, if you're going to do stuff like that, you would be better off with a tourer style, maybe even a tour adventure style, rather than a sports tourer. I mean, as you know, I've got my Blackbird, which is a sports tourer, and I'm going to be doing quite a big trip on it soon. But in my head, I would much rather be on an Africa Twin.
You want the Africa Twin,
or a Tiger 1200 or a GS 1200, because it's just built to do it better.
Yeah, I like the idea of a Tiger. Whenever I was at Donington Park, the marshals were riding around in Tiger 700s, but they looked a bit small, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was looking at them thinking, 2 or 3 years ago, before I even started riding properly, like the thought of 700s, I was like, oh, it's a bit big. And I know I've only really been riding about my 125, but I throw that around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably overconfident on it, but even now, the Tiger 700s, and I can see myself growing out of that really, really quickly.
That's why if you go for like sort of the 800 sort of CC, it's kind of like the best of both worlds. You could probably deal with that for a lot longer than you would a 700, which would be a bit lower on power. But I even offered, I've seen a bike come up for sale just down the road from me, and it was the bike I originally was going to get before I got the Blackbird. And it was really good mileage, it's a really good price. And I messaged him and just said, do you fancy a swap? And they messaged back saying, if you'd asked me 2 months ago, I would have said yeah, but I'm trying to be sensible and just get some money for it. And I was like, oh, fair play, and it was a pan-European 1300 touring bike. I was going to see if I could swap it for that, but they weren't keen. But yeah, I mean, I love bike shopping. It's great. I spend most of my spare time sat looking at bikes that I can't afford.
I like bike shopping too. I love going into just big bike retailers and just walking around and staring at bikes.
That's the big problem I've got with where I live. There isn't many around, so I have to do it online.
There's one near me, and I walked in. I wanted to buy some chain oil, and I went in and picked some up. And I think I told you this a few weeks ago. And I was walking around looking at all these bikes. There was a big Harley Davidson there, and it had like painted and all like orange fire and all. My daughter was like, "Oh, I like that one. That one's nice." And I was like, "Yeah, but you look like a right spin right that." You know what I mean? I don't know who could pull that off, but it's definitely not me. That's what she said. And, and I was walking around and I seen this Tiger 1200, and it was a big white one, and I was like, oh, that's what I want. And I was staring at it and drilling over it.
They are very nice. They are very nice.
Looking at the price, knowing that I would never buy that bike, but I was really enjoying it. And then my daughter said something. I said, oh yeah, that's the bike I want. And there was all these bikers around, and my daughter just went, that's the sort of bike you can get, Daddy, when you pass your test.
As if everyone's just looking at him going, ha, what a noob.
You know what Jessica's like? She just comes out with the best phrases at the best time. Yeah. My daddy's got a black toy that makes him feel good.
That was the best one. When I heard that over the fence, that was amazing. I think the best one though was when you were having a bad day and they'd done something. You know how kids just annoy you. They just do the same shit. My thing is repeating. When they keep repeating the same thing over and over again, it drives me insane. And you kind of get to that point where he's like, look, just can you stop doing that? And I remember being next door, and I heard you say, Jessica, will you just stop doing that? Ah! And then she come outside and started singing Frozen, going, let it go, and I was absolutely creasing, because I thought you just said, just shut up, and it's like, just let it go.
I can imagine there was a few more swear words thrown in
Yeah,
there.
of course there was. But
I'm really bad around my kids. I have to try and swear less around them, and they never pick it up. They're so good. They never pick up anything. They never say anything out of turn, which is very surprising being around me. But there you go. Yeah. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, hopefully by the end of August, September, I will hold a full bike license, and then I can get a bike and join you. And mate, I've got some ideas for YouTube videos and blah blah blah.
Need a GoPro.
Yeah, well, I've got one. Possibly, well, I've got one in my basket. I just need to have order.
Which one is it?
10.
Yeah, that's the one I've got. The 10 Hero Black Edition.
Yeah, that's it. 10 Hero Black.
I think
then it's the same as there's so many different ones, and they're always coming out, and they're always new. And it's like, what one do you get? And you always have that FOMO where it's like, I've got to buy the brand used one. And you're like, hold on a minute. The GoPros that were out 4 or 5 years ago and the videos I was watching were pretty good. So
Yeah, they are good. The batteries don't last an awful long time, though. That's the only gripe I'd say about them.
Yeah.
I did see a Tiger 1200 for sale up this way, actually, with about 34,000 miles on. $5,000, which is pretty good.
Yeah, close to my budget.
Yeah. Full panniers.
Yeah, we'll see.
Was a 2012, but I think that's a good price.
We'll see. I have to pass the test first.
Yes, you do. But I think it's cool that you're going to be passing the test.
It's like, well, it's almost $1,000 for the test.
It is.
It is $1,000.
It's not cheap.
It
really isn't.
Fucking
yeah.
Breaks my heart spending money. Never mind that much money.
The hardest part of the test is Module 1. That's the hardest part.
What's Module 1?
Module 1's where you go to
sucking the instructor's cock.
That's when you go to the test centre, and it sounds noddy. And like honestly, you've got to like park your bike into a parking space, and then you've got to lift it up and sort of wheel reverse it into another car parking space, and then put it down on its stand. And then you've got to do like a figure of 8. The hardest part is probably going through the speed trap at the right amount of speed, and then doing an emergency stop without skidding your back wheel. Because if you skid the back wheel, immediate fail.
But you just lean forward.
That's what my instructor said. You lean forward on the front of the tank, slam your front brake on, and hover your back.
And just pretend
to touch and he said, and just hover your foot over the back brake as if you're pressing it, and you will be fine. And that's exactly what I did, and it worked.
I'll be doing top rank endos.
Endoing past him. All right, mate.
How's that for an emergency stop, mate? Did it pass? Right.
Oh,
anyway,
dear.
On that note, I think we're going to have to go because it's getting late.
It is.
Actually, it's been quite a quick episode with just the two of us on here, but
Yeah, it's been good though. So we didn't need Chippy.
no, fuck off, Chippy.
Yeah. Don't need him.
You're lucky we have you on the podcast.
Yeah.
You better start being nice to us or we'll kick you off. You know, right, like, next week he's going to have a whole list of
Oh
corrections
God,
and
yeah.
feedback and
Chippy's
things that we
correction
throw.
hour.
And if anybody is listening, if you are still listening, and you have anything you want to send us, like if you just want to send us and tell us what we said wrong or what we said right, or just slag us off, like that's fine. We'll do
Yeah,
that.
we can deal with
We'll
that.
do in the show. We don't care. I'm half pissed. I don't care. Right. So we have been the Big Bad Bike Show. So Ash,
I'll see you later.
and it's a goodbye from me as well.